Former Army Chief General VK Singh is once again in the news. This time it's for his autobiography, Courage and Conviction. This memoir, of course, chronicles his own journey as a soldier to the post of Army Chief, but it's also grabbing the headlines for its accounts where he describes how he was offered a bribe, and of course it also takes on unnamed officials in the Prime Minister's office along with another former Army Chief. To talk about his book and of course his propensity for always being in the news is the former Army Chief General VK Singh himself. General Singh, let me start by asking you, why this autobiography? At what point did you decide to write it? And what compelled you to actually chronicle this journey? You of course write about how your publishers approached you, but given that you are always in the news, did you feel that this book would open another Pandora's box?
No, I don't think so. See, I think David was very persuasive. He thought that maybe he's followed how things have been, and he thought that a story needs to be told of the way I have been and have seen things.
Did you plan it as a no holds barred account? Because there are things you say and then there are things that you don't say. I want to ask you about the things that you don't say as well.
I have always said things which came to my mind, and I've said them straight. There's no problem on that. And I think that is what the account of this book is. In fact, I look at this book differently. I think people are only reading the last 2 chapters.
Your tenure as Army Chief.
Let them read the things before that. There is a lot in it. I mean, there is a lot about Bangladesh, there is a lot about how Sri Lanka happened, there is a lot about Blue Star, there is a lot about where I served and various things were there. There are a lot about the army and its ethos. I think those are, in my view, more important because they shape the things the way they happened subsequently.
Fair enough, but journalists are always interested in the current, and I think therefore there has been a lot of focus on the last 2 chapters which chronicle your tenure as chief. Now you say you have actually written things as you saw them, and you have given a pretty blunt account of how you were offered a bribe to move a file on the Tatra trucks deal, and how soon after that you walked into...
I think I gave that blunt account much earlier.
You did, and it's here in the book as well. And you describe how you walk into AK Antony's office right after and you alert him to the fact that this has happened, and he holds his head in his hands.
I think we have said this before.
But my question is this. You talk about how you believe that there were a number of interrelated events, that the fact that Tatra, Sukhna, Adarsh, all of this were linked, and you believe, and you do not name this official, but you believe that there is a senior official in the Prime Minister's office that was in a sense at the hub of this entire controversy, and these were all interlinked controversies. Why do you not name the Prime Minister, the official you allude to? Why do you not name him?
I think it is for people to find out who this official is. I mean, as one kept learning through various controversies, somehow few things became apparent, and that's what I have said.
What became apparent?
What became apparent is what is given in the book. There was somebody.
I have read the book. Yeah. I have read the book.
So that's what I've said, that what was apparent is that there is somebody. There is somebody who seems to be getting linked to various things, and that's how it has been put down in the book.
You actually give away who you are alluding to in the book, because you say that this particular official was actually accused of his relatives having received flats in the BEML flats, and you just have to go through the archives to find that it seems that you are referring to Mr. T.K. Nair, who had in the past issued a very strong statement saying that his relatives were guilty of no wrongdoing and he had no link to the Tatra trucks controversy. So you are referring to Mr. T.K. Nair.
I'm not referring to anybody. I'm just referring to some official in the PMO who was a beneficiary. Now it is for people to find out who was the beneficiary.
You say that you found that there was an incestuous link between all of these controversies. That's the word you use, an incestuous link. What led you to believe that these events were linked?
See, when you deal with these events, after some time you come to know what is happening behind the scenes. You know who's writing what, who's being told what, where is it coming from, ultimately it gets revealed. If somebody thinks it doesn't get revealed, then I think we are fooling ourselves. So when you come to know this, you find you also try and link the dots, and maybe the dots get linked somewhere.
You described the Raksha Mantri as a sincere person, a good man, whom you said was also a victim of Babudom. That's the phrase you use. How was your experience interacting with A.K. Antony? Do you believe that he... Very good?
Very good. See, I've said so, very sincere. Every time that I went up with something that was beneficial for the army, that was good for the morale of troops, I had total support. And I mentioned that. And that's why I said victim.
You seem to suggest he could not take on his bureaucrats.
See, bureaucracy has its own way of working. They can create walls, some people can break those walls, some people get, entrapped by those walls. So, that's why I said he was a victim, because lot of things I feel that could have happened got submerged somewhere in the bureaucracy.
In your book, you say that you describe the television discourse around the Tatra truck scam, and you say that some commentators were making what you call grandiose statements, suggesting that when this bribe offer was made to you, you could have even called in the military police. You say in the book that you did what you could have. Your critics have said subsequently that you could have made the complaint in writing. You could have acted much earlier on this bribe offer than you did. You waited too long.
People who don't know the army can make all kinds of comments. There is a system, and the system is that you always go and apprise your superior. This is what has happened. Decision has to be that of the superior, not yours, because if you do something, it will be seen as differently. And it happened, superior was apprised, he said certain things, and they were followed. So far as I am concerned, the matter ended there. So,
should you not have pursued it? If it was so serious, it was the India's army chief being offered a bribe by another army, just retired army officer.
Who ordered the CBI inquiry subsequently? Did the army chief order it? No. Somebody higher than the army chief ordered it. So, that somebody higher had to take the necessary action at that time. So, that's how the system is. When it's part of the procedural issues. You just don't jump around and run to the CBI director and say, hey, come and do this and this and this. It doesn't happen that way.
Were you satisfied with how Mr. Antony responded to your complaint about this bribe offer?
Yeah, I was quite satisfied. So far as I am concerned, I told him what has happened. He gave me certain directions and I followed it.
So you believe there's nothing more you could have done than what you did?
Nothing.
Now, in the book, you describe the present army chief, General Vikram Singh, as a wonderfully charming man whom you have nothing personally against. Yet, for those who have observed the army for a long time, in many ways, this has been dubbed in the media, your entire battle over the year of your birth, as a succession battle, as a battle to block General Vikram Singh from becoming army chief, whom you call a wonderfully charming man. You describe this account where he actually comes and meets you. He talks about loyalty to remaining loyal to you, and you go on to say just remain loyal to the country and to the army. Looking back at that time, do you believe it hurt the image of the army grievously that the army came across as polarized into camps of those who were backing you and backing General Vikram Singh?
I don't know. I don't think so that way. See, you see your junior as a person who is doing his work, which you are giving him. You judge him by that. You don't judge him by external factors. And that is what comes out clearly in the book. And that's why I said, wonderful man. I've had a very good personal relationship with him. So where is the doubt in that? Now for people to, start ascribing motives, succession plan, that plan, I think let's leave it aside. And that is why what comes out quite straight in the book is the relationship not only between me and him, even I've described my relationship with me and
General Deepak Kapoor.
So where is the doubt in that? Let's not unnecessarily start looking for ghosts which do not exist.